doing? How you doing? Big up yourself, girlfriend. How you doing? Hello, CSO. Hey. Do you know what? Just as I was going to press the go button, my screen froze, so I had to come out and come back in again. Because normally I like to be at these things early. But yeah, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too. I must admit, I am a little bit tired. This week has been a long week for me for some reason. And I don't know why. And plus, the temperature where I am has really dropped. All I want to do is go cozy up somewhere. How you doing, girlfriend? How you doing? So what's going on with what's going on with the Cat Collective? What's going down? See, look, I've got my head cover on. I've got on my hoodie blanket. I've got a couple of these hoodie blankets now. They're fantastic. They really keep you warm. Oh yes, it's been really cold. Where are you, Bree? You in the UK? Because we got snow, was it yesterday? But it wasn't settling snow, because I'm up north, but it wasn't settling snow, but it's still threatening to snow over the weekend. And I can defo feel the drop in the temperature, and I'm not liking it at all. I'm not liking it at all, considering 2 months ago I was sunning myself in Jamaica, and I had spent quite a lot of time there. So it's like, I know the temperature there is going to be around about the 24, 25 at least. And Jamaicans consider that cold. Hey, in Germany, it's not so cold anymore. Are you not getting any of your snow in Germany? You'd have thought in Germany would have been one of them places you would do. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason, we're getting a cold snap in the UK. And I'm not loving it at all. It's making me want to be elsewhere. Honestly, it's really making me feel like I want to be elsewhere. Oh, you're in London. Yeah, I was in London over the last weekend. I came back. When did I come back? Tuesday. I came back Tuesday, but I was there I went Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I came back Tuesday. I was staying with my son. Yeah, I'm a Londoner at heart, but I've ended up north. And you know, the way things are going in London, it's really hard because this is expensive. The minute you step outside of London, the expenses just drop. Honestly, the expenses just drop. But anyway, you didn't come here for the weather report or how expensive the UK is. We came from some tarot. We came for some actually info, didn't we? What's going on with the collective? How are you feeling? Do you know today is an actual super new moon in Aquarius? I don't know if you know that, but today is the day, and I think that moon, the effect of the new moon lasts for a couple of days. So a couple of days before, a couple of days after. But this is the time you really need to be manifesting, and on a super new moon in Aquarius, that's crazy. I think there's a full moon in Virgo on the 24th of February, but today is the new moon in Aquarius. If there's any other time to start manifesting, is today and for the next 2 days. Write down in your intentions, imagine it in your mind, get your dream board going. Do you know, set those intentions out there. Yeah, it's also the new moon. It's also the Chinese New Year as well, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm actually the year of the dragon. I'm one of the year of the dragon. Do you know, I'm a wood dragon as well, and I think this year is a wood dragon. Yeah. So it's like a story of two halves. On one hand, it would help. The year of the dragon is meant to be auspicious, especially for money, but at the same time, the year of 8 is about karma as well. The year of 8 is about money, but it's also about karma. If karma's going to be served, this will be the year. And already it's happening. Look at all these celebrities out in each other and all sorts of nonsense going on. Never mind what's going on with the normal man. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people getting it. Yeah, not good. Not good, but I bought oranges. What's that like? I put my handbag on the floor. It's not good, but I bought oranges for health. Yeah, some sweets to eat at 12. And okay. Yeah, I didn't go that far, but I wish I'd have stayed in London a bit longer, because I could have went to in London. They got the Soho area where they got the Chinese area, haven't they? And it's kind of like they have all the little red out, because red is meant to be a lucky color and all that, isn't it? I love Chinese New Year celebrations. They're going to do the Chinese New Year celebrations. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And then you've got the dragon in the middle, the front of the parade and all that. And this year it's going to be even more. They'll probably have more dragons. It's usually just one on the front. But this year it'll probably be crazy because it's the year of the dragon. Yeah, so how's it going with everybody? Should we do a collective read, or do you just want to chat it up? What's been going on, collective? Shall we do a collective read? I'll put my yeah. Or shall we just chat it up? Or do you want to answer? Do you want some questions? I know there's only a couple of you here, but shall we do a collective read, or would you like to do something else? I love parades too. I love a parade. I love a parade. The one on my bucket list is to go to New Orleans when they're doing Mardi Gras. I really love to do that. I love that. And I used to be a big thing for Carnival. You know, Notting Hill Carnival. But it's not the same as when we was younger. When I was younger, Notting Hill Carnival would go on all night sometimes. And there was always some party going on. You had the sound systems out after a certain time. And it'd be like, you'd have the parties. It'd be like a 24-hour thing. And now the police have just taken it over. And they've cut out certain things. And it's just not the same. So I don't go anymore. But yeah, I love a parade. But I'd love to go to New Orleans and the Mardi Gras. And although I was in Trinidad at the time of the Trinidad Carnival, I didn't get to go. So that's another one on my bucket list as well. So I want to see the Trinidad, because Trinidad's Carnival is meant to be one of the best ones in the world. So there's that one, and there's the Mardi Gras. I'd love to do Mardi Gras. Yeah. Yeah, they ruined it. They just ruined it. It's just not the same. Maybe it's just me and my old fuddy-duddy self, but it's just not the same. A lot of things have changed since I've gotten older. I mean, once upon a time, you could have the house parties. You can't have those anymore. There used to be a lot of hall parties, or, you know, like you go to a hall or a dance in a hall, and that doesn't happen anymore. I couldn't tell the last time I heard my sons talking about I'm going to a rave, mum. Do you know, they used to say that to me a lot, but not even that is happening anymore. You're lucky if you get a gathering of people who's just going to want to have a good time. Do you know, because that's, do you know, if the neighbours get a wind of that, they're finding environmental health. And, do you know, it's things like that. It's just not the same anymore. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I had a question today because I fight a lot with loneliness. Want to know if it's a karma stuff, a yes or no question if possible. Do you know what? I'm going to say immediately before I even flick a card. It's not karma. Do you know what happens with spirit sometimes? Spirit needs to separate you from what is going on around you to actually give you your blessings, but you're still clinging on to something. And until you get over the thing of loneliness, okay, because there's two things. You can be lonely and you can be alone. Now, if you're still feeling lonely, it's because you're dependent on something, or there's something you're still anchoring after. Okay, but if you're just alone, that's a different thing entirely. I live by myself. I have done for years. I am alone, but I'm not necessarily lonely. Because you get to the point where you value that alone time. You value that. But if you're feeling the loneliness, because I'm going to tell you, you know, especially if you're on this journey and you're of spirit, you're never alone. You're never alone. I'm going to tell you, you're never alone. But sometimes, yes, sometimes we do hanker after stuff that is kind of like, and you do feel lonely. But when you get like that and you feel like that, pray. Pray, or even close your eyes and think about what you want out of life. Here's the thing that is a lot to do with shadow work as well. Close your eyes and ask yourself the question when it's quiet and you've not got the TV on or anything like that. Close your eyes and ask yourself, why do I feel lonely? And you'd be surprised about the answers that come to you. And 9 times out of 10, it's loneliness because you're hankering after something or someone, okay, who again shouldn't be in your life. 9 times out of 10, it's somebody that shouldn't be in your life, and you need to learn to release it. Because once you release all these things, you don't feel the loneliness so much anymore. You feel, yes, you're alone, but you don't feel the loneliness. It's time that sometimes people need to have alone time, especially after relationships, especially after bad relationships, because you need to give yourself time, because sometimes when we go into relationships, we lose ourselves. Okay, we lose ourselves, and it's time. You have to give yourself time to find yourself again. Okay, and I'm not trying to sound harsh. We all get to the point sometimes when we're lonely, but that's the time when you sit there and you close your eyes and you ask yourself the question, why do I feel lonely? And it's a lot to do with shadow work. Why do I feel lonely? Because, you know, if we get out of that kind of stance and realize what it is and why we feel that way, and we can be alone by ourselves and not feel the loneliness, you'll be surprised what comes in for you, because a lot of it is to do with releasing the past. And the loneliness is you think, sometimes it's about you thinking about the past. Thinking about the past and thinking about what the hell went on in the past, and you still hankering after something. Close your eyes and ask yourself, why do I feel lonely? You close your eyes and you say, why do I feel lonely? And the answers will come to you. And it's usually to do with a person or a situation that you shouldn't have been in the first place. But you're still not releasing it. Oh, what have I missed here? What have I missed? How you doing, Malval? Oh my goodness, it's hard for me. I understand. I know. I feel lonely and I'm alone. I know what you mean. It's crazy. Yes, it is hard for me. How you doing? Long time don't see. It's me, William from Jamaica. William from Jamaica. I'm on a journey right now, doing a lot of traveling, and I'm stuck at a place. I need a reading. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know, William. Bree, big up yourself, Malval. I'm trying to make friends, but it's hard here. I don't know. This is a feeling I since childhood. Oh, if you are not happy alone, it's time to go within. Spirit will remove everything to force you to go within and learn. Sometimes you're deliberately put in a position where you're by yourself because you need the alone time. And secondly, sometimes you feel like you're losing people left, right and centre. But 9 times out of 10, the people that you're losing weren't meant to be in your life in the first place. Do you know? And sometimes we're isolated because Spirit has a message for us. Sometimes we're isolated because Spirit has better for us. When you release the old, then you can invite the new in. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Yeah, when we release the old, we can bring the new in, which is going to be far better for you. We're on a journey, that's what you have to remember. So when you get like that, okay, and I don't know if that's, I mean, if you're getting that from childhood, there's a lot of trauma there. If you've been getting that from childhood, there's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of insecurity, but what you have to do is do some shadow work and ask yourself, why do you feel that way? Why do I feel lonely? What is it that's making me feel lonely? You'll be surprised what comes to you. You'll be surprised. But yeah, anyway, big up yourself, girlfriend. Big up yourself. So I'm going to flip that card for you, girlfriend, because you did ask the question. You asked the question. What was the question you asked? I've forgotten now. It was something to do with loneliness, but I mean, why is not that's an open-ended question. But why, I have a question because I fight a lot of loneliness. What would know if I had karma stuff for yes or no? Karma, it's not a karma thing. It's not a karma thing. It's almost like, sometimes it has to do with karma, but there's things that you need to release and you struggle to release them. But sometimes, yes, it is about closing cycles. But I would say in most cases, it's not karma. But it could be to do with past karmic situations. okay, that you might still be hankering after. And if you're getting this from your childhood, that means that you've been through a lot of trauma, or there was a lot of trauma when you was growing up. And you've had to deal with a lot to isolate yourself. And when you get the loneliness, because sometimes I can tell you, I've been in relationships and still feel lonely. You're in a relationship and you're lonely. That's telling you a lot about that relationship. For example's sake, that's telling you a lot. When you get like that, it's kind of like it's time to reprioritize. Especially if you're in relationships and you're still feeling lonely. That is not a relationship to be in, because if you're in a relationship and you still feel lonely, what is wrong with that relationship? Why you have to be feeling lonely? What is wrong with that relationship? And I've been there, so I know it's time that you're better off. Do you know, if you're going to be lonely in a relationship, you'll be better off by yourself and being in alone than being in that kind of relationship, because there's something terribly wrong there. If that's how you're feeling. Do you know what I mean? Yes, I feel like past life situation. I don't like to be alone. Yeah, and that's a lot to do. And I don't like to sugarcoat stuff. But if you've been going through this since you were young, that's a lot to do with insecurities. A lot of stuff has happened to you that it's a lot to do with insecurities. And we've got to sometimes learn and understand that at times, you know, we've got to go through the shadow work. I'll tell you which is a really good book that I've actually read to my Patreons. If you're not into Patreon, I'm very deeply into Patreon. I've got a Patreon and it's obviously Valerie's Naturals Oracles. But one of their books I read was Yolanda Van Zandt. She did that TV show with those celebrities when they've got dysfunctional families and stuff, if you know who she is, right? But she's got a book called 40 Days and 40 Nights. And it's all about, you go for a different subject every single day, and it's like doing shadow work. There's another book she did, and it's literally about shadow work and starting from the basement and working your way up to the attic. That's her analogy. So you're in the basement and you've got some stuff that you need to really sort out, and you need to do it, but then you go to the first floor, but there's still stuff in the basement that you need to deal with. And you keep rising up and going to different levels, but there's still stuff that is still in the basement. And then you realise that something on the second floor has triggered you. And you have to go all the way back down again to figure out what it is that is triggering you. And that's the whole thing. And I can't remember what the book's called, but I've got it here. But I also read that to my Patreon. So on my Patreon, I've got a lot of audio books that are either self-help or they're esoteric. I've got about your past life, about Helen G. healing, about pendulums, the whole works. I've got a whole lot of books on there that I've read to my Patreons. So I really recommend, and I'll tell you what I'm reading at the moment, which I've already read once. I've read it once, but I'm reading it again. It's called The Inner Work. The Inner Work. If you want to do shadow work, I've read this whole book already. It's on my Patreon, but I'm reading it again because I might put it on my TikTok at some point. But this is the book that it takes you through a range of emotions, and the emotions usually mean something, and it's something in your subconscious as well that it explains why you feel the way you feel. And I'm going to see if it has loneliness. Let me just see if it has anything about loneliness here, because this is the book that you really have triggers. It's kind of like it helps you to understand and know why you have those triggers. Has it got it lets you understand and know why those triggers are there. But let me just see if it's giving me overall of the themes of consciousness. Let me see if it gives me one for loneliness. I can't remember. It's not giving me that information. Overall practice of inner work, transcending. Meet your mind, autonomy of the mind, liberation of the mind. Limiting themes. Let me see. Let me see if it gives me transisting, limiting themes. Does it give me loneliness? It says shame, guilt, judgment, hopelessness, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance. It's not actually giving me loneliness, but it is giving me hopelessness, grief, fear, desire, anger, shame. Shame is right at the bottom for some reason, but yeah. it's kind of like it goes through each one and it gives you why you feel that way and it gives you the trigger and it tells you how to get out of it. So like guilt or judgment, for example, the triggers, then it gives you how you transcend from that actual situation. It's a very good book if you're into shadow work and stuff. Yeah, family. Also, nobody can replace, unfortunately. There is an app also called Medway. Oh, okay, the Inner Work Author. The Inner Work Author is it's two people that have actually got a website. What are they called? Matt and somebody. And if you go, there's a thing in here. They're called the Yoga Couple, and it's Matthew and Ashley. Matthew Michal-Leckley and Ashley Cottrell. I can't pronounce their names, but I've got an ISDN number. This was actually written in 2019. But let me find the other books, because I've got a couple of others that are really good, like the Yolanda Van Zandt. She's got two of them that I really recommend. They're really good books. Can I see it right here? Or do I have to dig for them? I don't really want to dig for them, but let me just have a quick look. I'll have a quick look. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I don't see them offhand. Let me just see. Oh, wait a minute. There's one. There's one. In the meantime. Okay. Yeah, one day my soul just opened up. This is the one that does the 40 days and 40 nights, okay? I couldn't exactly remember. Yeah, 40 days and 40 nights towards spiritual strength and personal growth. This one is like a shadow work book and it gives you a different theme every single day. But she definitely's got one in here about loneliness. And I'm going to find that here and I'll read it to you because I'm telling you it's deep. Let me just see. Where is it? There's a whole thing that goes... Oh, no, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Don't tell me I have to go through the whole thing and figure it out. Let me just see if there's a appendix at the back. Because... What the hell? I know she definitely's got in here about loneliness in here, but I can't... It's like you have to go through the whole thing. How honor others with closure. Honor others with compassion. Where is it? There's one here for loneliness. I know there is. Honor what you feel. Okay, here you go. Faithful. Honor what you feel. Forgiveness, meditation, disappointment. Lonely. It says here, when you feel lonely, hug yourself. Go to a quiet, open field or park and lie on the ground. Remember those who love you and the time you felt loved. You must practice, pray, and ask the divine to fill your heart with love. Examine your intent. That is why you did what you did. So that is to do with loneliness. Loneliness for me is one of those things that you have to ask yourself the question, why do you feel that way? I've also got in the meantime, and this is that's the one that accompanies it as well. In the meantime, living through in the meantime. So in the meantime is all about going through the different stages of shadow work. But I'm telling you, these books, Yolanda Van Zandt, she's really good. This is the book that you really need to get. This one here in particular. And I read the whole of that to my Patreons. And I think I read this one as well to my Patreons. But this one, it's just one chapter a day. They're very short pages, but it's like it goes through 40 days and 40 nights of it. And what happens is you're supposed to go away and do the exercises and think about why these things are happening. But yeah, I think it's a past life thing also. Yeah. Do you know, I often considered going to one of those hypnotists that does the past life regression. I often wondered that because... I'll tell you how you know, because this is one of them books I've read about your past life and how you know that you've had a past life. And it's usually that when you dream and you remember your dreams, you see yourself in costume, like a costume drama, or you see yourself, like, for example, you've jumped into World War II and it feels really vivid, or you've jumped into the Egyptian times and it feels really vivid. Or you've jumped into where the Indians are in South America and it feels very vivid and very real to you. Okay, that's when you know part of that, when you see things like that and you're in full costume drama, or you see yourself in this kind of their way of living, it usually means you have had a past life. It usually does mean that. 1200, something like that. What was the costume? What was it about? Because I also read that to my Patreons about past lives. I think it was called Past Lives, because I'm a strong believer in reincarnation, because it's all to do with reincarnation. It's to do with past lives and where your soul's been. And I considered going to one of those hypnotists that does past life regression, because if you've read something like what is her name, Summit Cannon, she was a hypnotist and she hypnotized people, and what she found is that some of these people were literally abducted by aliens, or they met aliens, or they found themselves going through. Because what happens, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you even believe this, but when you go to sleep at night, your soul goes on a journey, okay, whether you want to believe it or not. And this is why they say that sleep is the closest thing to death, because your spirit leaves your body and it goes on a journey. And sometimes we remember where our soul has been. Okay, so that's another subject entirely. But the past life, you'll have a past life if you really remember your dreams, and you feel like you're in a costume situation, but it's really vivid. That's a past life. Do you know what I mean? In England, it was a woman cried because the baby was stolen in my dreams. Wow, the baby's name was Mila. Wow, in England, do you know? Did it actually state what part of England? Because sometimes you can go back to. There's in one of the books that I've read, the past life thing, there was a woman that said that she kept getting this recurring dream about Ireland, and she didn't understand why. And she literally visited Ireland, and when she visited Ireland, she clapped her eyes on a building, and the building felt so real to her, like she'd been there before. And it turns out this building was to do with, I don't know if you remember the era, if you're in the UK, you might have heard about this, but they had a whole load of mothers and babies in these institutions, and they was really being abused. And she remembers a past life back in the 18th century being in one of these buildings, because it carried on right into the 19th century, in Ireland in particular. And when she clapped her eyes on this building, she just knew that she'd been there before, but in a previous life. She just knew. She knew the building. She could tell you what the colour of the front door was. She could tell you the dorm she was staying in. She could tell you everything about this building without even stepping in it. So she knew she'd been there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's really deep. Yeah. That's another book I've read to my Patreon. So if you're really into all that kind of stuff, come and join me on Patreon, because I've got a whole range of books I've read on there. I've read years of books on there. What's that one called? Past Lives. I think it's called Past Lives Made Easy or something. I think I've got it here as well. No, it's not up there. Where is it? Oh, what you done with it, Val? Past Lives. I've even read the chakras. Where is it? I've got the chakras, numerology. I've read a lot of books. I can't remember what it's called. If I remember, I'll tell you. Remind me. Send me a DM, and I'll dig the book out. You can go and have a look at it for yourself. But I've read a whole load of these books, and I'm a strong believer in reincarnation. So when you know, yeah. You get me on a tangent. Just mention one thing about these things that I've read. I'm into all that. A baby was, from the, oh my goodness, stolen in England with a, and you dreamt all this. Was it really vivid? That was crazy. Was it really a vivid dream? Or was it, I believe, yeah. So I don't know, but it's a deep. All those things are very deep subjects that need a thing by itself. But a lot of that is on my Patreon. I read so many books. It's all on my Patreon. So you could just do a search on past lives. You could do a search, and I used to do this thing of Let's Learn Monday. So I did a lot of subjects. There's a lot of books on there. There's a lot of subjects on there. I've been doing it for years. But yeah. If you're into all that, come over to my Patreon. But, not at the basic level, though. I think it's, I've got wood, brass, gold, silver, platinum. There's like 5 levels on there. It just depends on which level you pick, because I think it's the third level up. You get access to all them books, and I've been reading them for years. And you can just sit there and listen to them. Do you know, it's not the type of thing where you're going to read it word for word. I might sometimes I've connected the books to them, but most of them are audio. I've done it, read the book, but as an audio. Earth is an unusual planet. Sometimes when you get visions, it's just to remember. I always vision myself with big wings, big black wings. Interesting. Big black wings. I don't know. There's this school of thought. I'm going to tell you. There's a school of thought that believes that we are descendants from certain people like the Anunnaki and that. But there's another school of thought that is saying there is a council of light. And most of it is when we go to sleep, our soul goes to go and learn about her higher self. And it's usually in a council of Sumerians. This is just a theory. This is like one of the theories. But it's kind of like, and this is why some of us are really waking up, because our souls are actually going to learn these things, and we come back and we wake up and we suddenly have this knowledge. This happened to me. We suddenly have this knowledge of certain things and we don't know where it came from. And it's our soul gone visiting and gone to school at night in one of these planets or in one of these places where they're learning things and coming back, and it's kind of like an implant type thing. But where that thing with the wings, is that dark angels? Because sometimes we think that angels are all light and white and this, that, and the other, but we don't actually know what an angel looks like. And they could be in their black, because they could be black with black wings. You don't know. Because this is, I have to say, it's like a lot of the theory that we get, a lot of the stuff that is engraved in us, it's like that person talking about, especially things like the Bible and stuff like that, and descriptions of certain things. For me, it doesn't ring true. And how do we know that angels are always going to be white? How do we know that? How do we know that? I know Jesus, the blue hair, blonde hair, the blonde hair, blue eye thing is a myth, because that was painted by an Italian, and it was his boyfriend he was painting. He was having this relationship with this man, and he painted it. D'Angelo painted the picture of this blue-eyed, blonde-haired man that the church is now depicting as Jesus. But unbeknown to these people, this is why it's so hypocritical. Unbeknown to these people, that same painting of that person was somebody who was in an incestuous relationship with his sister. And I think in the end, he murdered somebody. So this is who the church is actually portraying as Jesus. Now, if you look in the Bible, okay, where does they say Jesus comes from? He's in Jerusalem in Africa, and it speaks of Jesus having hair of wool and feet of brass. Okay, it's very contradictory. That picture of that blonde-haired, blue-eyed person was D'Angelo, the painter's boyfriend. They was having a same-sex relationship. This is why it's so hypocritical. Do you know, if you really look deep into these things, because I'm a big one for research, if you really look deep into these things, this is why it's so contradictory. So it's like immediately you're painted with this thing, and then it says in the Bible we should not be worshipping idols. What is the cross? What is the cross? It's a depiction of an idol, isn't it? Jesus was put on this cross, hung from this cross to die. Okay, but at the same time, the Bible tells you not to actually praise false idols. Now the question is, do you see the cross as a false idol? I don't know. You know, I dreamed also meaning that he would die. Oh, that's deep. Wow, I dreamed of the death, the meaning that he will. I dreamed once from Jesus when I was nine. Wow. I mean, I'm big on dreams. I've got a lot of dream books and stuff. Black and white. You see, when you see something like that, it's just it's almost like an interpretation of finding balance, trying to find balance in something. When you dream of death, it's not necessarily about death. It's telling you something else. It's not necessarily about death. It's something else. I'm a big thing on dreams. I've got a couple of books here, and I've even got cards about dreams, but I'm really not going into it today. But what is Guardi? Do you want... So, the question you asked about whether it's karma, it's definitely no. I don't need to flick a card to tell that. Now Wow, that's going deep. Wow, I read a lot, 5D, yeah. Sometimes for me, visions is like spiritual time travel. I see a lot of things before it happens, but sometimes I even don't remember it. Just when it's going to happen, I remember. I dreamed this before. Yeah, that's the thing though. It's like I always say to people, especially if you're a big dreamer, always have a pen and piece of paper by your bedside, okay? And when you wake up in the morning, okay, think of that dream and write it down immediately. And put the date next to it when you dreamed it, because you'll probably find it's a dream journal basically. Because I'm one of those people that don't remember their dreams, but when I do, I know it means something. I know it means something. But I always say to people, go and get a dream journal or a blank notebook and put a pen and piece of paper by your bed. When you wake up in the morning, if you remember the dream, write it down. Write it down, because it means something if you're going to remember it, especially if it's a vivid dream. Write it down. I dreamed that before. Big up yourself, girlfriend. Yeah, just when I'm going to happen, I remember. Yeah, write it down. If that's the case, Kush, write it down. Always, when you wake up in the morning, write them down. And then when you look back and you think, what does that mean? Do you know? And if it comes to pass, then you know. But if you don't have a record of it, you don't know whether that dream came to pass or not. Or if you've got a good memory, then yeah, of course, you're going to know. But I always say write them down, because you can go back to them and say, I dreamt that. I dreamt that was going to happen. And then you know, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, write them down. Write them down. I always say write them down. That is one of those things. I don't remember my dreams very much, but when I do, I don't remember. I probably do dream a lot, but I don't remember them. But when I do, I know they mean something. The last one I had was a bit of a weird one, and I knew it was a message. And I dreamt that I was in a hotel room, but the hotel room had bars, and I was in this room by myself. And somebody, who I'm not going to mention who it is, was at the bars doing this, trying to get in. They were trying to get in, and I knew it was a message. This person was an ex, okay, and this person, they thought that, this is why I could give you these experiences. This ex thought, from what I understand, thought that they could always have a hold on me. And because they didn't have that hold anymore, it was almost like in a dream. It was almost like you need to release that now, because that person just thinks that they can still get at you. But the bars were there this time. It was almost like there's no more of that. The bars are there now. They can't get at you anymore. They can't get at you anymore. Do you know what I mean? See, that's another thing entirely. See, when you start saying things like that or seeing things like that, you have to wonder, should they be there? Because again, there is spirits, and people have monitoring spirits. There is spirits that are there, and I could tell you some stories. Because sometimes sometimes when I do personal readings, I get people wanting to come in and pass messages to loved ones and stuff like that. And for me, it can get a little bit scary. But you see, when you see that kind of stuff, I'm forever saging and Palo Santoing, because of what I do as well. It invites energies in, and sometimes it's not good. And if you're seeing that, depending on what you're seeing, for example, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to get too spooky, because I've had to not exercise them myself, but I've taught people what to do when things like that. I'm going to give you a story. My friend, I was doing a photography course a couple of years ago, and there was a girl came to me one day and she said to me, my son, at exactly the same time every single night, will say there's a monster under his bed and he can't sleep. And I said to her, do you know what the monster looks like? And she said, no, he does, but he doesn't want to talk about it. And so I gave her an incantation. It's not an incantation. It's something you say when you're walking around with the sage. You have to make sure it's good quality white Californian sage. Okay. And I said, open every door, every window, every cupboard. If it's the kitchen cupboard, open the doors. If the bed has got under bed storage, open the bed. Because these things, and some people don't believe in this, but these things know where to hide. Open every door, every cupboard, every window, and you start at the top of the house and you work your way to the front door and ask them to leave. Okay? And she said, Val, she came back 2 days later and she said to me, Val, ever since because I gave her this thing to say while she was walking around the house with her son. And so he really, because what it is, people don't seem to understand that children see spirits. Children see it more than an adult would, because of their innocence. So obviously there was something in the house that shouldn't be there. And it was taught in the boy at the exact time every single day. Because the adult can't see them, but the child can. And so she said, she came back 2 days later and she said to me, Val, he's not waking up in the night anymore. It's like he needed to exercise that. Now, I had somebody else come to me and said to me, my daughter has seen somebody on the landing every single night. So I said to her, what is your daughter describing this person as? Can she see the person's face? And she said, no. I said, that person's not meant to be there. From you can't see the face, that person is going to do something. That spirit is going to do something at some point. Okay? That spirit is going to do something at some point because you can't see the face. From you can't see the face, it doesn't... I'm not saying it's there for ill intent, but I'm saying that there's something not right there if you're not seeing the face. And I gave her this thing again, and this time I gave her to make sure it's good quality, that she does exactly the same thing. She said, you know, my daughter don't see that thing anymore. So when people say things like things in the house, what are you seeing? If you're saying that you're seeing spirits in the house and you can see them, what do they look like? Are they good spirits? Are they bad spirits? Are they monitoring spirits? Are they spirits that are ready to do something that they shouldn't be doing? This is what you've got to ask yourself. So it's good, you know, you can make statements like that, but it's not no joke thing. Honestly, it's not a joke thing. You need to understand and know what kind of spirits it is. And if that's the case, you need to actually get rid of them. Because if you're saying you're seeing them, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? What am I missing here? There's a lot going on here that I've missed. Yeah, it depends on who it is. It depends on who it is that you're seeing. If you're seeing them or you're just feeling them, I don't know. Yeah, write it down. You should always write these things down. I also think I'd take a course from my dad. He died. Oh, okay, yes. Children and cats, yeah. I feel only my family who died also feel bad energy. That's when you need to start doing something about that. But I know my mum's with me. I know my grandmother's with me. Okay, and I know because they've shown me signs. It's not like I just know. They've shown me signs that they are there, and if I call on them, they are there. And they've literally shown me signs that I know that they're there. Okay, but sometimes if you feel like sometimes you're sitting there and you'll see something cross your eye. Now, is that a good or a bad thing? You have to ask yourself, how do you feel when you see that? How do you feel when you see that? If you're sitting alone and you smell certain smells and you know it's not your house, sometimes that's some kind of spirit wanting to say that I'm here for you. You know, like, I don't know if you've ever had that where you're sitting there and all of a sudden you'll smell something like a perfume that used to be on somebody that you didn't, that may have passed, or you smell a cologne, or you smell a type of food that you associate with someone. It's usually that person telling you that they're there with you, you know, or if you're sitting there by yourself sometimes and the hairs on the back of your neck start rising up for no goddamn reason. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's somebody trying to tell you that they're there for you. If you see a lot of feathers, depending on the colour, especially white, it's like they say it's people around you protecting you. If you see money, and I know these things sound a bit suspicious, but I'm going to tell you a story. Today, this happened to me this morning. I don't walk around with money. I don't. I tap and go. I'm one of those tap and go people. I don't walk around with money. I don't. And this morning I found some coins in a really obscure place that I would have never have put them. And pennies and coins and stuff is one of those things that I don't know much about. So I went and looked it up, and apparently if you see these things suddenly from nowhere in obscure places, coins, pennies, that kind of thing, it's usually because you're being protected from something, or something nearby that is good is nearby to be with you for some reason. And I was thinking, well, today is a bloody new moon, isn't it? And I feel every ounce of the moon sometimes. But yeah, it's like an energy biddy. It's getting warm. It sends me bad energy. See, I would be doing the incantations with my sage. It's not always sage that you need. There's different herbs, and I can't remember which ones it is, but there's sage, there's rosemary, there's certain herbs for certain things. Certainly white sage, California white sage, is to clear every energy. Palo Santo is there to clear the bad energy and leave the good energy. And I can't remember what the sage does, but that has a different type of energy again. But those are the two I always keep on deck. You know, the sage and the Palo Santo especially. Because you can clear everything, or you can just clear the bad energy. But you have to do it in a way that is, they say like a ritual thing, but it's not. It's kind of like, because what people don't seem to understand, that the word is a strong thing. They don't call spelling for a reason, because a spell is an intention. You don't need to be doing the hocus pocus and the candle magic and all that kind of stuff to actually set an intention to cast a spell. You just use the word in a different ritual and it will cast, you know, it can set an intention. You don't need all the drama. You don't need all the candle magic, the rope magic, the this, the that. You don't need all of that. Let me tell you, because spelling is called spelling for a reason. Just like they say that spirits, that's, you know, when you drink spirits and it just drunk you, it's because spirits is not called spirits for a reason. It's one of those things, especially if you're alcoholic, it's bad spirits enter you through alcohol and that kind of stuff. It's not good. I'm not to say that I don't drink, but you drink in moderation, because spirits is not called spirits for a reason, just like spelling is not called spelling for a reason. If you look up the meaning of spelling, especially in the old context, it means an intention that comes out of the mouth. You do not need candle magic. You do not need rope magic. You don't need that kind of stuff. If you say something for long enough and set that intention for long enough, the word alone can cast a spell, let me tell you. Yes, I met by sage, but I did a lot of herbs also. This is something that happened a long time ago, so I always take my vision seriously. I don't see my friend get killed. Wow, we all know I didn't tell him the other day. So, yes, the word and intentions. Yeah. I'm going to get off of that subject now because that can get very dark and very deep very quickly. But I don't believe in things like candle magic. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in candle magic. I don't believe in rope magic. You see these spells that people are casting because the word is a strong thing in it by itself. You don't need all that nonsense. And to be honest, I practice a certain type of, it's not even a religion. It's kind of, I'm into Nichiren Buddhism. We believe that everything comes from you. Everything is up to you. You know, it's up to you to change your life, to change your revolution, to change your karma. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes people blame other people for their circumstances when it's their fault. And it's not, I'm not trying to be like very contradictory now, but what it is, 9 times out of 10, when people are behaving like victims and blaming other people for their circumstances, they have to look at what brought them to those circumstances in the first place. What brought you to those circumstances in the first place? And 9 times out of 10, it's your own fault. It's your own fault. So you should never be blaming other people for your circumstances. Because there's a thing called cause and effect. For every action, there is a reaction. And one tiny second of a split second of something can change the whole course of your life. We call it Nichiren Sanzins, where for every action we take, there are 3,000 other actions that could happen in that split second. It's almost like having different dimensions, it's like having different dimensions, and according to free will, whatever action you take, there's a consequence, no matter what you think. And like someone says, I didn't ask to get murdered. What happened for you to be put in that place in the first place, for you to be murdered? You have to ask yourself these questions. Do you know what I mean? So I hate the thought of people behaving like victims, because you have to ask yourself the question, what put you in that position in the first place? Don't ever blame anybody for your circumstances, because there's always going to be somebody worse off than you. That is still going to be, you have to learn to be happy with your circumstances, regardless of the level of life that you have. And this is what you have to think about sometimes. And I know it's a difficult concept for some people, but the split second of whatever decision you make according to free will is gonna actually determine what happens with that situation. Do you know what I mean? Cause and effect. I'm a strong believer in the 12 laws of oneness. Do you know, I'm a strong believer in that. Balance is everything. Balance is everything. Cause and effect, karma. There's a law of karma, there's a law of balance, there's a law of relativity, there's a law of, the law of oneness. The law of, there's 12 laws of oneness. And one of those laws, and as I'm into the human revolution, one of those laws is the law of karma and the law of cause and effect. And that's what karma is about, cause and effect. What actions you take determines the outcome. Do you know what I mean? Can you ask if I was the child in my dream about a stolen... Yes or not? What? Can you ask, please, if I was the child in my dream about the stolen child? Yes or no? No, if you're dreaming about that, that's not about you. That's something you're seeing. That is... No, that's not you. That's definitely not you. No. No. Big up yourself. So, yeah. I've gone deep today. I've gone very deep today. There's only one person here. Big up yourself, girlfriend. Big up yourself. Yeah. So I was going to answer some questions, but some of the questions that have been asked, they don't need a card to flick on them, because I just know. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, what's going on? Anyway, what's going on? Big up yourself, Reggae. Big up yourself. Good to see you. I mean, I do this every Friday at 7 o'clock, but I only see a couple of people. But I do it anyway, because I just think it's interesting. But if you didn't know, I also do the zodiac signs on YouTube on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And I also do subscriber only TikTok on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So if you're ever around to any of those things, that's where I am on at 7 o'clock from Wednesday onwards. And I'm thinking of doing one on my Patreon as well. But yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. So yeah, I was gonna flick some cards, but there's only a couple of you here. So do you know what? That took a turn, didn't it? But these things you should think about. Loneliness in particular, and I'm going back to that now. Loneliness in particular is something that you have to ask yourself why you're lonely. Because sometimes we have to learn to be alone to receive what we need to receive. And if you've got distractions all the time, if you've got things that are actually causing drama in your life all the time, if you are feeling that way, you've got to ask yourself the question, why? Is it that you don't like your own company? And why is that? Why are you feeling lonely? Are you missing somebody? Who is it that you're missing? And then that's when you start getting deep. You're saying, is it I'm missing the person, or am I missing what they did for me? Or am I missing the person, or I'm missing how they was to me? Am I missing the person, or am I missing the drama of that person? You have to sit there and ask yourself these questions. Do you know what I mean? It's a good exercise. I meditate on a daily, and I chant too. And chanting is a good thing, but meditation is a very good thing. And people make a whole thing out of meditation. And all it is to find a quiet space by yourself and close your eyes. And if you're a beginner, you listen to your breathing. You listening to your breathing. That's all you're doing. And whatever comes up in your mind is what you can focus on next. Shut out the world and concentrate on your breathing. Breathe in, breathe out, and concentrate on your breathing. And then what you'll find after a while is that things start popping in your head that you need to meditate, or you need to ask yourself questions about, or you need to actually think about. But it's a way of shutting out the world. And, you know, it's kind of like people make a big deal of meditation. And all it is to shut your eyes and be quiet with yourself. That's all it is. You can take it to another extreme, yes. But to begin with, all you're doing is listening to your own breathing. Close your eyes in a quiet space by yourself. Close your eyes and listen to your breathing. It's a way of becoming calm. And then you can move that on to your favorite place. Close your eyes, especially if you're stressed. Close your eyes and think of your favorite place. I have a favorite place, and I've actually gone to my favorite place. So I know, you know. But you go and you think about when you feel stressed, you go and think about your favourite place. And you'll probably find that it calms you down. Like my favourite place is a beach in Negril. I could sit there on that spout in that place all day, you know, if it wasn't for the sun. That's my favourite place. I love to watch the boats go by. I love to watch the calm sea. The heat on my face. I think about the heat on my face. I think about the sand under my feet. I think about listening to the water as it's splashing around, the boats and the people around me making the noises. It's my happy place. If you feel that way, find your happy place. Do you know what I mean? And you'll soon find that you'll calm down, especially when you're anxious. So when you meditate, the first thing you start with is just listening to, shut out the world and listen to your breathing. After a while, that will turn into something else. It will turn into, what do I need to focus on today? Why do I feel this way about this? Why? And you meditate on it. And the answers will come to you. And then you can also have meditations where you need to calm down. So you think of your happy place. Do you know, this is all beginner situation. But, do you know, because what I do, I chant every day, and it's Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. I chant every day because that is my type of meditation. I do sit there and close my eyes sometimes, but my meditation is chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And with all that, I can think of everything that I want to think of. It brings me ideas. It brings me, you know, because that's what I'm into. Do you know what I mean? But meditation is a wonderful thing. You know, meditation is a wonderful thing. And just closing your eyes is a form of meditation. Closing your eyes and thinking of a solution to something. And sometimes it comes to you. Do you know, it's a good thing to do. Yeah, I love the sea too. I live. That's why I when I moved out of London, I went to Margate, and then I've ended up in Blackpool. And where I used to live in Blackpool, I could just step out the door and look left, and I can see the sea. But unfortunately, the sea in the winter time, especially the Irish Sea, the what is the Blackpool Sea is the Irish Sea. It's very harsh in the winters. So since then, I've moved. I'm a little bit more inland, but I'm not far. I'm still not far from the sea. Do you know what I mean? But I love the sea, and they say people that love the sea are, especially in the spiritual game, are star seeds, because star seeds, their first love is water. Apparently, it's with a lot of star seeds. It depends on the type of star seed, but they say that it's a love of water. It's a love of freedom. It's a love of cleansing, because water's very cleansing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know why I'm so drawn to the water, but I love it. And I could sit, like when I'm in the grill or if I'm in Jamaica, I could sit in front of the sea all day and I wouldn't get bored of it. Don't get bored of it. Do you know what I mean? And I do a lot of that. I bring my lunch with me. I sit there on a beach and chill all day sometimes. That's what I used to do. I did a lot of that. But yeah. Yeah, I always want to live near the sea. Yeah, I've got this thing about living near the sea. I really have. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I love my own company, but I'm not made for a life in loneliness. Yeah, I love my own company too. Yeah, but sometimes you do get like I could do with a lot of company. I mean, I've gone on holidays by myself. I go to the cinema. Do you know sometimes going to the cinema is better going by yourself than going with people that's going to be talking your ear all day. I love if there's a film I specifically want to watch, I go by myself. I don't have a problem going to sit down by myself. I don't have a problem going to the cinema by myself. I don't have a problem going on holiday, but I've done that. I've gone on holiday by myself. I sat in Jamaica for 3 months by myself. But that way you get to see how the locals live, you meet new friends, you meet new people, and I love it. Because sometimes you don't have to cater to other people. You can just do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like sometimes I prefer my own company. But not everybody likes to travel by themselves, for example. Some people don't like, it's kind of like, and yeah, I understand that, but I love my own company, I have to say, and I don't get bored of my own company, and if I'm bored of my own company, then, yeah, of course, I'm going to pick up the phone and talk to a friend or something, but 9 times out of 10, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. Do you know, I used to think of, because I was married, I'm divorced now, but I think about all that cooking and cleaning and having to cater to somebody else and having to do their washing and all this kind of nonsense. It really, like, maybe it's because I've gotten selfish now, because I don't have to deal with that anymore. I've gotten selfish, so I don't have to deal with all that. But sometimes it's better to be alone than to be in a relationship. Like I was saying earlier, it's better to be alone sometimes than to feel like you're alone in a relationship. Because that ain't serving no purpose, is it? It's not servicing any purpose. It's like you might as well just be alone. Do you know what I mean? I get a lot of people talking to me like that. Like they're in relationships, but they feel like they're alone. Or they're in relationships and they wish they weren't. And they're in relationships because people don't do the same as what we used to do. We used to court. And we used to go out on dates. And for me, dating is nothing but an interview. Do you know, you're trying to find out who you can be compatible with. And obviously you've got to ask questions. And people show you who they are from early. But sometimes your subconscious just takes it to the back of the head because you like that person, but you're not seeing the red flags. Or you saw the red flags, but you thought, nah, is that really what they did? And you put it at the back of your mind, only to find out this person really is. Somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So I say all that to say that sometimes we're better off by ourselves rather than being in these relationships that just is not catering us. Sometimes we just need to release them and move on because they're not serving a purpose. It's almost like for some of these relationships, I got a lot of people that come to me and say this person did this and this person, and I say to myself, but so why are you still there? I don't want to be alone. But you'd rather put up with the red flags than to be alone. It don't make no sense, does it? But sometimes people just don't hit their bottom. They have to hit their bottom to understand. And until you hit that bottom, you're going to put up with whatever it is until you're going to snap out of it one day and say, why am I doing this? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to stop all that nonsense. How's the collective doing? I've missed a lot, haven't I? What are you lot guys thought? I have problems with anxiety to travel alone. No, I hear what you're saying. I must live in England. I must live in England. I always want to live near the sea. Yes, yes. I love the sea. I love the sea. You know, I'm thinking because I'm going to tell you, it's my 60th this year, and I'm thinking, I want to do some stuff on my bucket list, and it's either do a safari. I've always wanted to do a safari, because I'm a photographer, so I'd love to take my camera, do a safari, and catch all those majestic animals, and or go on a cruise. And someone said to me, why don't you take the cruise to the safari? Which I thought, oh my goodness, that's an idea, isn't it? But I also haven't been to Vegas. I'd love to do Vegas, even if it's for a couple of nights. But so I don't know. One of those things. I don't know, but I'll see how it goes. But yeah, that sounds amazing, doesn't it? But also, people are not like, cruise. See, I love the sea. So for me, getting on a cruise would be fantastic. I'd sit there and watch the sea all day. Do you know what I mean? Because I've got this thing about the sea. Love it, love it. Anyway, I haven't flicked a card today. All I've been doing is rambling. Take me with you. All I've been doing is rambling. I mean, the kind of questions you guys have been asking me today are questions that I don't need to flick a card to actually get the answer to, because I know, purely by experience, I know. I've been in that position of feeling lonely, but I've had to sit there and do the shadow work and figure out what is triggering me to feel that way. 9 times out of 10, it's either some kind of trauma or something that you're hankering after that not necessarily is a good thing. What is it? You have to ask yourself. The sea is a good company. Yeah, take me with you. Yeah, sometimes, like where I used to live in Blackpool, because it was only like 2 streets from the actual sea, you know, of an evening in the summer, I used to go there about 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening, go and sit down on a bench in front of, like, you've got the parade, haven't you? So I'll go and sit down and watch the tide come in or watch the tide go out, depending, and watch the sunset, because I love a sunset as well. So I'd watch the sunset, and there's been a few occasions where I've got up in the summer to see the sun rise, and that is really pretty. The sun rises a lot prettier than the sun sets. Do you know what I mean? But you have to get up way early in the summer to do that. Winter it's different. Like sometimes you see the sunset and the sky is so red and so purple. It's beautiful. But you don't want to be in that cold when you're seeing that. Because you know it's cold. Because those are the sunny days in the winter, isn't it? When you see like sunsets like that, you just know it's cold. You asked me that before, and I said to you something different. I said to you something different, and you keep telling me the same thing. You keep telling me the same thing. You keep asking me the same thing. Because your medium said that. I don't know. You've asked me that before, and I answered you. And I don't even remember what I said, but you asked me that question before, and I answered you. I don't know if it's going to be New York. I have the feeling I don't think it's going to be New York, to be honest. Oh, I have a yes or no. Yeah, the seas. You've asked me that question before. And what was the answer I gave you? Yeah, walk before you can run. If you're in a circumstance that, you're saying that you're going to live in New York, but, there's certain circumstances that you have to, because whatever actions you take determines the outcome, cause and effect. Okay, so if you're in a position right now that, yes, we can work towards these goals, but if you're in a position right now that is far from you traveling, Why are you even thinking about that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, in order to get to that, yeah, you could probably possibly get to that position, but there's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. So if you're setting that intention, then go for it. But for me, to even think that way, you have to be in a position. You have to be in the position to put yourself in that position. When we're actually setting intentions, it's 80% spirit, 20% you. Okay. Oh, my bloody light just went out. Let me just turn on this ring light. And you have to set the intention, but also you have to do something to go towards it. If it's something you want to manifest, okay, and what happens is that, for example, if you wanted to buy a house, okay, and you really want the house, and you believe that that house is yours, you've got to show spirit, or you've got to show what you believe in, that you really want that home. So in order for you to do that, you need to step towards it, don't you? So what you do is you go and look at the homes. Like you phone up an estate agent and say, I'm really interested in this house. Okay. And you say, can I see blah, blah, blah. If it's house similar to what you want, you go to that house and you walk around, you look at it. And even if you can't afford it, you set the intention for what you want. You have to make sure you show the universe that you really want what you want, and you're just not talking out of your ass, basically. 20% is you, 80% is spirit. You've got to show spirit and the universe is that's what you really want. Set the intention and leave it alone. Show the universe that you want it. This is how manifestation works. And if that's what you're manifesting, and somebody's told you that because you're manifesting it, that's what you want, then yes, of course it will happen. Okay, eventually, if you manifest it in the right place. But if you're doing it if you're just saying, am I going to be this, am I going to do that, and you're not working towards that goal, because it takes 20% from you. You don't sit on your ass and say, I'm going to America. You have to show that and set that intention. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want. Ask, believe, action, receive. Once upon a time, people used to think it's ask, believe, receive. No. Ask, believe, action, receive. You have to show that you really want that item, that you really... So, for example, you can sit there and visualize. They say it's a good thing to visualize what you want. When you're lying in bed sometimes, visualize yourself in that position that you want to be. Really feel what's going on. Smell what's going on around you. See it. Touch and feel it in your vision. That's how it works. Visualization is a very strong thing, but you also have to set the intention and show that you mean what you say when you say you want something. Do you know what I mean? And be precise about it, because you could very well ask for the house, but was you precise about it? Because you could get a house, but it'd be a totally wrong house for you, because you just said, I want a house, but you didn't visualize what kind of house you wanted. You didn't set the intention of what type of thing you did. You didn't say what color door you want. You didn't say what kind of windows you have. You didn't say what kind of surface it had. You didn't say, so when you say things like, my spiritual person told me this, okay, is it that you're asking the question? And B, is it that you're setting the intention for this? Is that what you want, or is it just something that's been plucked out of the air? Because for me, it's kind of like, that's something that's just been plucked out of the air when you say that. And I can't remember what answer I gave you before, but you asked me that before. So, yeah. I have a feel, yeah, okay. I don't understand that question. Question, is the guy you told me from abroad? Don't know. Let's see. Holy Spirit, Holy Angels. I had a conversation with you about whether I saw something for you or not. And I did see new, but it's only when you're ready for it. It's going to take you by surprise. And feeling lonely is not you being ready for it. I just say that off the bat, okay? If you're feeling lonely, you're not ready for it. So it's going to take a while, but for you to be feeling that way, something that's causing you to feel that way. But is this person, so something's just dropped out, the Empress. Okay. So, who is this person? Is this person from abroad? Please give me the message. Please give me the message. Holy Spirit, Holy Angels, thank you for your guidance, protection, assistance. Please give me the message. Please tell me, is the person that we spoke about previously, is this person from abroad? Please give me the message. Is this person from abroad? As above, so below, so within, so without. Please give us the clarity and understanding we need right now. Let's see. What I've got here is the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups speaks of togetherness. The Three of Cups can be about celebrations. The Three of Cups is, you know, sometimes when I see this card, it's like, are you going to meet somebody at some kind of large function? Is this person from abroad? Is this person from abroad? There's a possibility, yes. There's a possibility, yes. There's some quick movement, but I don't think this is going to happen for you for a while. Because you've got some things to work through. You really do have some things to work through, to be honest. You told me about it. Yeah, I remember telling you about that. But it's going to be when you least expect it. And it's going to be when you've released certain things. There's certain things that you still need to release. There's certain things you can't usher in the new unless you release the old. And there's still things that you're holding on to. From what I understand. I'm still seeing things that hold on. That's okay. That's okay, yeah. They could well be, but I'm getting a lot of stuff needs to be done, really. Anyway, I'm going to stop it now. I've been here a while rambling. I am actually tired. You can see it in my eyes, can't you? I'm going to love and leave you guys. It's been lovely talking to you. There's a lot of things that have come out today. Do you know, it's like, as you can tell, I can ramble for England. So I'm sorry if I've gone on a bit more than I should have done. But it was very interesting for me. It's very different. So until next time, I'm going to love and leave you guys. And I'll speak to you soon. If anything, I'll see you next week. So until next time, good night. Take care. Okay, you have a good weekend too.